We start with the latest updates from Sudan. 2 years into the civil war between the army and the paramilitary RSF, shelling and civilian deaths continue. In the latest escalation, Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces shelled the presidential palace, marking their second attack on the capital Khartoum in less than a week. The palace had been recaptured by the army in March after the RSF seized it shortly after war broke out in April 2023. Reports say the RSF fired long-range artillery from the El-Fasher district across the White Nile, and this marks their closest advance since the army recaptured Khartoum. Until now, no casualties have been confirmed from the latest shelling. However, after retaking Khartoum, the army seemed to gain the upper hand. But the RSF is not far behind and has since ramped up its attacks in recent weeks. Since losing Khartoum, the RSF has shifted focus to the western region of Darfur. And an intense battle is ongoing for the strategic city of El-Fasher. It is the last major city under army control in the Darfur region. The RSF has intensified its assault on El-Fasher in recent weeks, overrunning 2 nearby displacement camps and bombarding the city with artillery. It also claims to have entered several nearby towns, potentially hindering the army's efforts to relieve its besieged garrison in El-Fasher. Meanwhile, the United Nations confirms that at least 542 civilians have been killed in North Darfur in the last 3 weeks. The conflict has essentially split Sudan. The army controls the north, east and center, while the RSF holds most of the west and parts of the south. The RSF has declared its own government in territories under its control, while army leader Abdel Fattah Burhan has appointed diplomat Dafala Al-Hajj Ali as acting prime minister. And the war's echoes are now being heard internationally. The International Court of Justice will issue a ruling on May 5th in Sudan's case against the United Arab Emirates. Khartoum accuses the UAE of supporting genocide by allegedly supplying weapons to the RSF. However, the UAE has denied these allegations. It has instead claimed that it intercepted millions of rounds of ammunition intended for the Sudanese army at an unspecified airport. And the army, in return, has dismissed the claim as a fabrication. So the conflict is deepening, with new fronts opening at home and growing reverberations. With international courts, regional powers, and millions of civilians now drawn into the fight, path to peace still remains elusive. For more on this, we have with us Mikhail El-Morabi, who is a consultant with the Sudanese government. Mr. El-Morabi, welcome to Firstpost.
Thank you. Thank you for the first post, and I hope we
Given
can
the RSF's renewed shelling of the presidential palace in Khartoum, does this indicate a shift in battlefield dynamics in light of the army's recent gains?
Not at all. Actually, on contrary, it confirms the loss of control. It's just a tactic of causing noise to remain in the headlines of the media stories and to bring us to answer this question. It's simply false claims that they are in control. Technically, the RSF militia, they have 13 areas to make this noise and to shell the capital Khartoum. Now 11 areas finished, and now the 2 areas under the process to be finished and over from Khartoum. And already mentioned in the news, it is in the Salha place, which is a remote place. The reality in Khartoum, that people in Khartoum, they are celebrating that they are coming back to their homes. The governor of Khartoum now back to the offices, 10 ministries. There are back. The Saudi hospital opened. The ambassador of Saudi Arabia, the ambassador of Qatar, the Saudi military attaché visited the army command, and the life is normal now back to Khartoum. What is happening now is just the tactic, as I said, is of causing noise to remain in the news stories and to show that they can do something and they can regain Khartoum. The Sudanese government regained Khartoum, which is the biggest city and the capital, also regained Wad Madani, which is the second biggest city in Khartoum, the state of Jazeera, all the area of the middle of Khartoum, north, east, and Kordofan, most of Kordofan. And now they are advancing to Darfur or El-Fasher. And my concern is that I don't call the area that the RSF deploy their criminal elements, I don't call it control, because the control gives you the sense of governance. There is no governance, just human rights violation and genocide. So in the area of the Sudanese government and the army, I can say that there is control, there is government. Sudanese people already celebrated the secondary certificate, which is the strongest and the well recognized in the region. And the Sudanese government implemented these exams within the war, and that proves the power of real government controlling people and provide them with education and health and services. While in the area of RSF, I cannot say control. So it is the idea of dividing Sudan between what so-called RSF and the Sudanese government, that is untrue at all. In the area of RSF, you just find the genocide and killing people, and no education, no health, nothing there.
Mr. El-Norabi, what are the strategic implications of the RSF's ongoing offensive in El-Fasher, and how close are they to a full collapse of central authority in Western Sudan?
They launched more than 188 attacks on El-Fasher, and they killed the civilians and the citizens, the refugees and the displaced people in Zamzam camp just close to El-Fasher. What they are doing is just killing people, shelling people, bombing the city, but they couldn't do anything. And as of El-Fasher, just for the history and just for the records, Darfur remained when the British Army in the 1901, they came to colonize Sudan. They colonized Sudan, and after that, they remained 16 years to get into El-Fasher. So, or to get into Darfur. So the area is very complicated. I know that the Sudanese army will still advancing to the El-Fasher area, to the Al-Dain, to Niala, to all the cities of Darfur, and now the Sudanese army is advancing. The job in Khartoum done, accomplished. The job in Madani done, accomplished, and in other areas, Al-Ubayd, other cities of Kordofan, all things are coming soon.
Minding all the complications and with both factions now establishing parallel governments, is there any realistic diplomatic pathway left for unification or a negotiated settlement?
I think the parallel government is just a tired lie. Actually, I like the term that the Kenyan media, they try to make this government in Kenya, and the Kenyan media, they call it the butcher government, not the parallel government. Actually, it's just like a state-led or government-led, just like a booklet, something small. And if you ask me who is the president of this government, no one knows. So that it is a big lie saying that there is a government. There is no president. There is nothing. They just make it as a card of pressure to put it in the table, because they know that no one will recognize this bloody terrorist group to have a government. That will never happen. This government, if happened, it is just like a baby that born with incomplete heart and brain. I can say born to die. It looks like the government of Antonio Laht, which was in South Sudan, South Lebanon. They call it the government or the army of South Lebanon. It remained for 15 or less, more than 10 years in Lebanon, and now no one knows what is this government. Antonio Laht himself ended up, he went to Israel and then he opened a restaurant, and the restaurant also failed, just like the government. So a parallel government that is supported by the enemies of the nation, that the people of the genocide, that will not survive at all.
Mr. Meki El Morabi, thank you for sharing your insights with First Post.